To most people who've played Red Dead Redemption 2, Reverend Swanson is little more than a punchline. He's a camp drunk, addicted to morphine, a pathetic, stumbling mess who represents a total failure of faith. We see him passed out, causing trouble, contributing nothing to the camp. He's a joke, a burden, a symbol of weakness. But what if you've been looking at him all wrong? What if that pathetic disgrace of a man is one of the most brilliantly written characters in the entire game? Rockstar didn't just write Swanson as a throwaway. They wrote him as a living parable. And his journey from this disgrace to grace isn't just a side story. It's a masterclass in the Christian redemption narrative. His arc is the key to the game's central theme, and there's a good chance you may have missed it completely. When we first meet Reverend Swanson, he's a wreck. Our introduction isn't to a man of spiritual guidance, but to a chaotic liability. In the mountains, he's a shivering mess, lost to his addiction. Later, we find him at a poker game in Flat Neck Station, so drunk he can barely stand, accusing others of cheating and nearly getting himself killed before Arthur steps in. He stumbles through camp, slurring his words, a ghost haunted by a man he used to be. This isn't just a man having a rough time. This is a full-blown fall from grace. Through camp dialogue and his own pained confessions, we learn that Swanson was once a real clergyman. We can assume he had a congregation and a powerful faith, and he lost it all. He gave in to earthly pleasures, falling into alcoholism, perhaps an affair that cost him his position. We're not entirely certain. And he lost his connection to God. His morphine addiction isn't just some cheap vice. It's a desperate attempt to numb the soul-crushing agony of a man that feels he's lost everything. In a tragic and yet perfect metaphor, he carries a Bible not for scripture, but to hide his syringe and morphine, showing how addiction has completely replaced his faith. Quite literally. He's the archetypal sinner. In Christian theology, this is the state of being lost, cut off from grace by your own actions. Swanson isn't a drunk. He's spiritually bankrupt and painfully aware of how far he's fallen, which only fuels his self-hatred. He sees himself as a fraud, and for the first half of the game, we're led to agree with him. So why is this broken man still here? Why does Dutch, a man who values strength and usefulness above all else, keep such a liability around? The answer is the first clue to Swanson's real character. Years before the game, Reverend Swanson saved Dutch. We even hear Dutch say it to himself in a quiet camp moment. "You saved my life. I won't forget that." That one piece of information changes everything. Swanson isn't just dead weight. He's a reminder of a past act of courage and loyalty. His presence is proof of one of Dutch's few remaining principles, loyalty to those who are loyal to him. Suddenly, he's not just a drunk. He's a man with a history, a man who once had strength, and even someone like Dutch found him valuable. And if you pay close attention, you can see that that man is still there, fighting to get out. You see flickers of the old Reverend. He sometimes offers Arthur counsel, even if it's a rambling, whiskey-soaked counsel. He shows moments of stunning clarity and remorse, admitting his failures with raw honesty. These aren't the actions of a man who is completely lost. They're the signs of a man struggling to find his way back. These dim embers of his faith are still glowing, but only slightly. He hasn't given up. He's just losing the fight right now. But the fact he's still fighting is the whole point. The core of Swanson's entire story, and maybe one of the most important conversations in the game, happens on a bench at a train station. This scene, which you get in the late game with a high honor level, is the pivot on which both his and Arthur's redemption truly turn. Arthur, sick with tuberculosis and facing his own death, finds a cleaned up, sober Reverend Swanson waiting for a train, ready to leave the collapsing gang behind. He's finally done it. He escaped his demons and is starting over. And in this moment of clarity, he gives Arthur a perspective that no one else can. Unlike Sister Calderon, who mostly sees the good deeds Arthur has done, Swanson's seen everything. He's seen Arthur as a killer, an enforcer, a loyal soldier in the gang of thieves. He knows the darkness Arthur has lived in because he's been in a darkness of his own. So when he looks at the dying outlaw, he doesn't just see a sinner looking for a pass. He sees a man. He tells Arthur something that cuts right to the heart of it. You're not a good man, Arthur, but you're not all bad either. This isn't forgiveness from a saint. This is recognition from a fellow sinner. Swanson, having clawed his way out of his own personal hell, is the only one who can truly understand the massive effort it took for Arthur to change. He is the redeemed man, validating the redeeming man. He doesn't offer empty platitudes. He offers a genuine understanding. He sees Arthur's struggle, respects it, and confirms that the fight was worth it. For Arthur, who spent his whole life wondering if he had any worth at all, this validation is perhaps the greatest gift he could have received. Swanson gets on the train and leaves. He's leaving the chaos of the Vanderlyn gang behind for good. He's a changed man, having beaten the addictions that almost destroyed him. By leaving the gang, Swanson is choosing to return to a standard outside of himself, and definitely outside of Dutch. His personal redemption story happens too late to save the gang, but it's a powerful contrast to the game's overall story of decay. While Micah, Dutch, and the others double down on their sins, Swanson chooses penance. It's a quiet moment. There's no big sermon, no dramatic, tearful conversion. It's just a man, finally sober, choosing to walk away from hell. We don't see him again, but we do learn what happened to him. If you read the newspapers in the epilogue, you can find a small article. It reports that Reverend Orville Swanson has moved to New York and become the successful and beloved minister of First Congregational Church of New York. Let that sink in. This drunken, morphine-addicted failure that we knew didn't just get sober. He returned to his true calling. He went from hiding a syringe and a hollowed-out Bible back to preaching from one again. He completed the ultimate redemption arc. Not only was he saved, but he dedicated his new life to saving others. His fall was catastrophic, but his return to grace was absolute. He didn't just find peace, he found his purpose again. So why did Rockstar give this seemingly minor character such a complete and powerful redemption story? Because Reverend Swanson isn't a side story. He's a parallel and deliberate echo of the game's central message. While Arthur Morgan's redemption is the game's loud, shooting type, Swanson is this quiet hymn playing underneath everything. He represents the idea that no one is beyond saving. His journey proves that even when you've lost everything, your job, your dignity, your faith, there's always a path back. It's a hard fight, and it means addressing your deepest flaws, but it is possible. He's living proof of the very grace that Arthur Morgan spends his final days fighting to believe in. Many completely misunderstand Reverend Swanson. Many saw him as a symbol of failure when, in reality, he's one of the game's most powerful symbols of hope. Rockstar didn't write him as a joke. They wrote him as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and to the core belief of redemption itself. Do you think there are other characters in Red Dead 2 or other video games that people misunderstand? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please consider leaving a like. It really helps the small channels. Thank you for watching.